Hi everyone, I'm Luke Hopper, broadcasting live from Point Blank Music School in East London. Welcome to this artist hangout with Ian Pooley in the Academy of Electronic Music, brought to you by Google, Armada Music, DJ Mag and Point Blank. So we are reaching the end of week 2 of this exclusive hangout series, and we hope you are enjoying the event as much as we are. Today, as I mentioned, we've got a very special guest for you, Ian Pooley. As a bit of background, Ian has worked with Innervisions, Ovum Recordings and Leftroom Records. His long career has seen him release over 400 singles and remixes and 7 albums. His music has taken him all over the world, from Berlin to Chicago to Detroit to Rio, and his sound has been heavily influenced by this journey. Pooley's first album in 4 years, What I Do, is out now and is a fantastic collection of house and techno, in keeping with his multifaceted style. So, Ian, are you with us? Can you hear me?
Hi there.
Hey,
I can
man.
hear you well.
How are you doing? You good?
Yes, I'm good, thanks.
Good, good. So, thanks so much for joining us today. We've got the 7 guys, the 7 winners, who are very excited to meet you and to ask you some questions. So, if it's cool with you, we'll dive straight in.
Cool, great.
Okay, cool. So, first up, we've got Adrian and Vlad. How are you doing, guys? Are you well?
Hey,
Hello, guys.
Cool. So, I think you've got a couple of questions for Ian, right? Do you want to fire away?
Yeah. Hi, Ian.
Hi.
How would you describe your sound?
My sound, production-wise, when I work in the studio, you're talking about this?
Yes.
I always go for, when I work, I try to involve a lot of the old school machines, like a lot of drum machines, synthesizers. So I'm always up to like more organic sounding, not so digital, so warm, analog, and also some dirtiness in there. I really like to tweak the mids and everything, and so it's like a very, like I said, organic, warm sound that I'm after, or chasing, so to say.
Okay.
Would you
Cool.
would you like to present us your production setup?
Basically, like everyone these days, everything in the end, is like collected then in the computer. But the more interesting part, I would say, is like the beginning. How I started track is I use, like I said before, like all the original drum machines and synthesizers, where we can see them in the back, and I do a lot of stuff live. So, like, for example, if I, play like pad sounds or melodies or bass lines, most of the times I play them live in my hand, and then I just record it and do long takes, like 2-minute takes, and then look for the best parts. Always there's some small mistakes or small glitches, and I correct that later. But basically, a lot of work is done with the actual machines and with my mixing desk here, and the rest, like the logic work, or like where I do stuff on logic, is basically simply to put everything in order, to arrange a little bit, and just to save it, But most of the work is really done with the machines.
And can you, Ian, can we take a look at the studio behind you? Can you talk us through some of the equipment we can see?
Well, as you can see behind me, there's a synthesizer. So they're basically to the opposite of my computer. If I turn it a bit this way, you can see there's more like other units, like the MPC, the 909, like drum machines. And this part of my studio, I always like to change. I keep the MPC all the time, but like sometimes I use the 909, sometimes I use the 808, and sometimes the 202 instead of the 101. And then down here, if I over there's some other units, more like effect units. So starting with the old Dynacord effect unit, a Korg delay effect unit, Lexicon PCM 91, fireworks, and a couple of other things. This one of my favorite machines is the Matrix 1000, which is great for nice analog sounds, and but a sampler I'm not using that much at the moment. And you can see here the mixer. It's a Ghost, Soundcraft Ghost, and then the big synthesizers in the back. Like on top is a Memory Moog, then the Jupiter 8, Jupiter 6, and that's the lowest one is just my master keyboard, the Korg.
And
that's about it.
a whole stack of vinyl as well, I can see.
Yeah, that's my playout vinyl. I have another room over there where there's some old house things, old disco records, old beats and breaks records, and I just from time to time it's fun just to pick out randomly records and look for a hi-hat sound or look for a drum, a snare sound. Actually, my laptop where I'm talking into the Hangout is on Technics. So that's I have my record player here, really close to the MPC. I like to have it close to the MPC.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Ian. So, Carolis, have you got a couple of questions for Ian as well?
Hi, Ian. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Now, just got two questions there. What do you like about living in Berlin as a DJ and a producer?
Sorry, I didn't get the first part of the question. Like, what
do you like about living in
Berlin? Okay. I made a decision to move to Berlin. I moved here 7 years ago, and for the reason because I lived all my life in my hometown, and my hometown, it's called Mainz. It's near Frankfurt. It's much smaller than Berlin, and I was looking for like a place where it's like there's always something happening, you know, like because I'm traveling on the weekends, and I was really keen on, you know, like going out maybe on a Wednesday or Thursday night and just to listen to new sounds or new DJs, you know, or new styles coming up. And you know, Berlin is just basically, or was and is right now, the place to be, you know, like. And also back in the days, like 7 years ago, when it's first time I got you know, like a laptop involved, or I think I got my first iMac as well, and so I wasn't really so skillful with Logic and with Ableton Live, so I thought, like, you know, like, why not move to a town where there's a lot of other producers and, you know, share studio, and then you know, exchange about like tips and tricks, like how to do stuff, you know.
That's cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Another one there. How did you meet Dixon and AME and the Immersion crew?
Actually, I'm friends with Dixon for many years. Like, I first started playing in Berlin in '93, '94, when the Love Parade was still really big and everything. And Dixon back in the days was the resident at a really famous club was called WMF. Doesn't exist anymore. And he was one of the first Berlin DJs that would play like proper American house. So the parties were always really great, and like normally Berlin used to be like a proper techno town, you know, like the clubs like Tresor and everything. So it was always fun for me to go and see him play. And the young guys joined a bit later, I think like around '98 or '99. I met them for the first time, and you know, like I knew they're gonna turn out to be quite, you know, like a big act, you know, because back in the days with their first productions, they already sounded so different. It was something really fresh what they did.
Thanks, cool.
And so Jonathan, how you doing, man? Are you well?
Hey, Luke, fine. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks, man. What are your questions for Ian?
Okay, hi Ian. These are the questions. Tell us about what it was like growing up in Germany and how far your surroundings have influenced your sound.
I think I was pretty different from all the rest, like speaking of techno and house producers in Germany, because when I got into the music, I was really young. I was 13 years old, and I started buying vinyl, and I pretty much from the beginning I was more into the stuff coming out of Detroit and Chicago. I really liked the more, you know, like the more black sound of it. You know, I didn't like the so much the electronic music from Europe in the '80s. So from my hometown and in Frankfurt, like all the others were more into the harder and more EBM kind of late '80s Belgian sound, and I was straight away like, I think the first Derek May records were out in '88 or something, or '87, and I bought them straight away. So I was a huge fan of it, and I tried to figure out how do they you know, make their beats, what drum machines they use or what synthesizers they're using. And because I was so young, I wasn't allowed to go to clubs, so I basically was mixing at home and started to buy some secondhand drum machines and started producing as well.
I have to say, very good taste for a 13-year-old, Derek May.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Thanks.
And Jonathan, have you got another question for Ian?
Yeah. Did your sound change when you made the move from Mainz to Berlin?
No, not necessarily, I'd say. I mean, like, I also basically I got with the general movement that these days, like, productions sound really like loud, you know, compared to like if you put on a vinyl from like let's say 95 or 94, it totally sounds different compared to like a new release in 2013. So basically, I went with a general movement that stuff is a bit louder, but I think I can say that like the basics, my general sound or what I like to achieve or what I like to when I'm satisfied with the track, I think it's the same still. Like for me, there has to be a certain dirty factor to it, and definitely like a lot of analog equipment, you know.
All right. Thanks.
Cool. Aaron, how are you doing? Are you well? Oh, Aaron, you have to unmute your microphone.
Oh, once again. Oh, hi.
There we go. How are you doing? Are you good?
Great. I'm doing great.
Good.
Hello, Ian.
Hi.
Hi. Great to meet you. I have a couple of questions too. So,
cool.
My first question is, how did you get your first break in electronic music?
I think I was fortunate enough that I got involved into the scene when it was starting, and I always like to say like it was almost like an explosion. I can exactly do the timing. It's like summer '91, you know, when the first big records came out, like the first Fuse, which is Richie Hawtin on +8, the first Underground Assistance records. That was kind of like made everything else possible. Like the techno scene got really, really big and everything. So I was already then like a heavy record collector, and I had my machines, and I did some production with my partner back then, DJ Tonka, and we got involved straight away. I mean, like our first release was out in '91, like in November. And that release got licensed to RNS, and we had a Richie Hawtin remix, so we were straight away involved. And yeah, that was, I think, what was a really amazing experience to be there from the start.
Yeah, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And you got another question, Aaron, as well?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know that you've released in labels like USA and UK, also in German.
Yeah.
What are the merits of releasing across several different labels opposed to just one?
I think to give stuff a tiny little flavor, different kind of flavors to the releases, you know, because I come from a generation where it's totally normal to be really like involved in stuff, you know, doing like deep house things or to do proper techno productions. You know, back in the days it was totally normal to change things, you know. It's only like in the last 10 or 12 years that when you start as an electronic music producer, you're really only like focusing on one style, you know, and for me that would be boring after a while. So I also use different aliases that I don't tell people that it's me. And that's also kind of funny, you know, because I've been around for so many years, and it's funny to release something where people don't know it's you, and so it's more like a fresh approach, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great.
Really good advice.
Thank
So,
you.
Ramon, how are you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Hi, Aaron. Aaron. Well, Ian.
Oh, good.
Sorry. My question: what is your opinion on the role of collaborations? Is having a production mentor important, and who are yours?
I think with collaborations, I don't do it so many times. Like I try to do like my own productions, focus on my own productions. But I think when you sit with somebody down in the studio, you pretty much know after the first session if it's going to work out or not, you know. And I like to work with people that have a the same amount of input. You know, it's not. I think it's not cool if you two of you sitting in the studio and then one's doing all the work. So there's always like people that have more talents in like arranging, and people have more talents in putting things together, or you know, like finding bass lines or finding drum sounds. So I have a few friends that I can work really, really well with, and but I try to keep that circle really small.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
And Raphael, have you got a couple of questions for Ian as well?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Ian.
Hi.
So how important is being able to produce across several genres?
You mean different genres, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
What is that? I think it's for me personally. I can only answer for me personally. It's just basically more fun for me, you know. Like for example, right now I'm just finishing one remix for my own label, Pooley Music, and straight after I'm gonna change the setup behind me, and gonna work on my techno alias, techno project. And I'm super excited about that, you know, because it's a different approach. Like, for example, I do the house stuff I do during the day, and the techno stuff I will do more like at night, because it's a different vibe. But if you ask me about guys like you or other people, I would always recommend like to just explore yourself a little bit, you know, like if you're really a fan of one sound, that's great, but always be open-minded for other things, you know, and try out other things for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thanks. And I have another question.
Yeah.
How do you approach remixes? And do you have any remixing tips?
I approach remixes. I mostly, when I get the parts or the stems, I load them all into Ableton, and I just play different loops and let them play all over and over and over and over again. And why I play those loops and I play around, maybe if it's a track with vocals, I cut up the vocals, loop some things, you know, kick some things out. And then while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, and also listening back to the original track a few times, is like, what is essential, which parts I want to use, because it's not good if you're just going to use everything. I think you just use the essence of the original track. And then when I listen to those loops and I find like an idea what I want to concentrate on, I already come up in my head with ideas what to play on top, you know. So sometimes I just, when I have the parts, I open up Ableton on my laptop and I sit upstairs on my sofa and just have a listen over the laptop. And then once I have a really good loop going, I go downstairs and finish the rest, you know. But that can also vary. Like, but this is recently, for the last years, that's how I've been working.
Cool. And Ryan, how you doing, mate? You well?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Hey, Ian, how you doing? You all right?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions for you as well.
Cool.
Do you think it's possible to make it as a DJ alone, or do you think you have to be a DJ and producer these days to make it in the music industry?
It's a good question. I mean, that's a tiny amount of DJs around these days that refuse to have their own productions. I don't know who is that. I mean, DJ Harvey. I don't know if DJ Harvey does. He does some remixes from time to time. I think these days it's almost impossible. You need to have the releases there to promote your touring schedule for sure. That's how it is, because like I can clearly say like around 10, 11 years ago, that's when the market kind of collapsed with you know, like selling vinyl. You know, like I come from times when you would press up 7,000 vinyl. That would be like a normal release, you know. And if you would have a hit, it would be 20,000, 30,000 vinyl, you know. And these times are gone. And so I think you need to, in order to let people know who you are, what you're about, I think you cannot avoid doing productions as well.
Okay. My other question is basically, what advice would you give to us as Academy winners? Is there any pitfalls in the music industry that we need to be aware of? going forward, or from your experience that you found?
Well, I talked to a lot of young and upcoming producers over here in Berlin. I mean, it happens, you know, every day you go to a bar and you meet up with people that just freshly moved here, you know, like they're in their early 20s and they're really keen on doing something. And I always advise them to literally actually think outside of the box. So, like, everyone has a laptop, everyone has Ableton, everyone has Logic or Fruity Loops or something. And I think it's like, it's fun to learn the basics or to get an idea of what your sound should be, is just to go on some classified magazines or online sites and buy yourself, you know, not necessarily the big ones, you know, you don't need to buy a 909 or you don't need to buy an 808 or something. Just buy yourself a second-hand drum machine. There's some cool ones around for like 200-300 euro, which are great. And then focus on one drum machine for 3 weeks. Just play around with that and try to get the best out of it. Because these days, all the young producers have unlimited possibilities of sounds, loops, beats, bass lines and everything. And I think you have like gigabytes and gigabytes of sounds, and you kind of can get lost to it, or it can happen quite often that you have like that everyone uses the same sounds, you know, whatever is in fashion right now. And I think in order to have like a long-lasting thing going, like a long-lasting career, you should really focus on creating your own sound, you know. And I think that the best way to reach it is just by limiting yourself with less machines and everything.
Okay, great. Thanks for that.
Cool, Ian. I also had another question for you myself, actually.
Cool.
For someone who's kind of, you know, been in the scene for such a long time, I wondered what your thoughts are on the current state of house and techno, and where you see things going in the future.
I think it's for me, it's really, for me personally, it's great at the moment. Like, it's already started like 2 or 3 years ago over here in Berlin when house got really big again, you know, because I think there's a whole new generation who they are in their early 20s. They're getting into the early mid-90s sound, you know, because they didn't experience that. For them it's something really, really fresh, and wow, this sounds different. And for me, it's like stuff I used to play in the 90s. So, and this is kind of also like my favorite kind of sound. And so I'm really happy at what kind of stage the house scene is right now. And for techno, I also see the general move that it's kind of moving away from this kind of perfectionist digital sound to more like raw, organic, mid-90s techno, like Luke Slater or early Adam Beyer stuff or everything. And I'm really, really happy about this as well, because I think this for me personally, that's the real techno.
Yeah. Most definitely. I think I definitely agree with you, Ian.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a quick look on the YouTube Hangout and see if we've got some questions from some of the audience watching.
Okay.
Let's have a quick look. Okay, we've got a question from Three-Legged Messiah, great name, who's asked, Ian, do you play your own keyboards? Your Since Then album had a lot of pretty intricate solos. Did you play all of those yourself?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. The only thing is, like, sometimes you can hear like obvious, like acoustic, like proper instruments, you know, like a guitar or something, or like a real bass or something. And then I get guest musicians, because they are far better professionals than me. But everything that sounds like electronic or like a synthesizer, that's me.
Okay, cool. Let's have a quick look and see if we've got some more coming through. So we've got a question. Let's have a look.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, of course, Ryan. Go for it.
Ian, do you know when you come to doing your actual tracks, have you got any kind of tips, you know, structure-wise, that you know that works on a dance floor really well? Or is it something you stick to rigorously?
I think arranging a track is the part I hate the most. I really hate arrangement. So I think I have the best flow and the best ideas by just layering everything on my mixing desk. And like I have, like, on one section I have my MPC going, I have some 909 elements, I have a bass line going and the pads. And like I said before, I record long takes. So I record like 2 or 3 minutes, and already while I'm recording, I'm putting a certain kind of structure already to it, just by intuition, I guess, or I don't know, like, or by, you know, like thinking like, oh, what should come next or something. And that already helps me out a lot, you know. If I would just start with one loop on Logic or on Ableton, that would be the most annoying, because like I said before, you sit in front of it and you have millions of opportunities and you kind of get lost into it. So I think it's more fun if it's really more hands-on, you know, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So you tend to like jam it out live almost?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wicked. Okay.
Actually, when I'm doing my techno stuff, I'm not gonna work with a computer. I'm gonna set up my old DAT machine,
cool.
And I'm gonna record everything on DAT.
Wow,
and if I fuck up, I have to stop and rewind and stuff. Yeah.
So you think there's something important about having certain limitations rather than just having, you know...
Totally. Yeah, because you tend to kind of try to make the best out of it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, that's when you make your best tracks.
Cool. Okay, let's have a quick look on the broadcast again. What have we got here? So we've got a question from the Metal Killing, who've asked, what would be your guilty pleasure for use in the studio? I guess, do you have something like that?
Guilty pleasure?
Yeah, some bit of equipment maybe that we wouldn't expect in an Ian Pooley tune.
Not really. I mean, I mostly have proper sophisticated stuff, like what people use, like what my friends use. I didn't really buy any new equipment recently. I think the last thing I bought is this Yamaha DX200, which was out like 6 or 7 years ago. But it sounds amazing. I think it sounds really good. But I don't have anything like, I didn't buy any of the new Roland products. I don't have anything like of the native stuff. So
I guess there's a little bit of resurgence in analog stuff as well. I get, because we've got the new base station here from Novation, and you see that's a good thing for production.
Totally, I think like you have such an advantage these days, like starting with a new, like if you want to start as a producer, because all those companies come up with really affordable, nice equipment, you know, like for example the Minitor from Moog, the new Walker series from Korg. I think that all sounds amazing and it's really affordable. I think that's great. Yeah,
most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. As we're kind of approaching time, let me just check if we've got any more questions here.
Cool.
Let's have a look. So, A. Doan has asked, how do you get the feeling to making music? I guess, where do you get your inspiration from?
I really don't know. Really don't know. Just like when I start a track, I start with something small, like a bass line or part of the beat or like a pad. I don't know, it just builds. It's like I start from scratch and it builds. I don't go in the studio. I never go in the studio and say like, today I'm gonna make a deep house track. It's never gonna happen. Or today I'm gonna do, like I'm gonna do this remix in a more techie style or something. You know, it's just it comes with the work, comes with the flow.
Cool. So guys, have we got any more questions in the Hangout?
I have one question.
Yeah, go for it. Who's that? I can't see.
I have one question for you, Jan.
Yeah.
What you use for finishing your production? Logic Pros or Pro Tools?
I use Logic. Yeah, I'm really sad. That's the first software I got when I bought my first laptop, I think 10 years ago, and I'm really satisfied with it. I know a lot of people say Pro Tools sounds better, but in my opinion, I'm really satisfied with Logic. And you have to remember that when I have an average arrangement open, I use maximum 12 plugins. I don't use, hardly ever use any plugins.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So any more, guys, just before we approach the end of the session?
Ian, do you know when you're actually producing your tracks, what do you find you have to get right in order to make people dance on a dance floor?
Definitely the groove. The groove has to sit really well. also what a lot of people forget about is like not only the beats, and like for example somebody would make a track and put a heavy swing like on a house beat, and then all the other rest like the bass line wouldn't have a swing in there, or the pads or something, and then it's all a bit off. So I think like the whole body of a track, like not only the beats have to kind of fit together, you know. That's that's the main thing. And but I can't tell you 100% accurate, because that's you know, I don't know myself when is the right moment. I just feel it, you know, when it's done.
Okay, cool. So we're kind of just approaching time on the session. Ian, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And to all of you 7 guys as well, thank you for getting involved and asking questions as well.
Thank you.
So,
cool. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye, Ian. So good luck with the album as well.
Thank you.
What I Do, it's out now, right?
Yeah, it's been out for a while, so like I'm working on a new one actually already.
Okay, so when can we expect to hear that?
Basically starting right now, so
cool.
like 8 months minimum.
Cool.
Let's say minimum 8 months. Yeah.
Cool, so that's a wrap for today. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. we're going to be back live online, hanging out with the 7 winners on another EMC session with our tutor Ski Oakenfall. In the meantime, if you are watching at home and you want to get your hands on our latest music production classes, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/pointblankonline. And that's it from us. We'll see you very soon. Thanks again to Ian and to all the guys. Bye-bye.